I have started streaming. Okay. I'll hit the record button just in case. Okay, so we are live right now. Okay, so let's see if there's any people that are going to come in. Just give it a little bit of time. So we are live, though.
No problem.
And let me try something else too. So if I open up another browser, whoops, don't want to go there. So let's do this instead. Do. Okay. Your channel. There. We're live there. Actually, do you think? Oh, you're on your phone, so okay, never mind. So we're gonna do this. Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you, but I'm getting some playback issues because I need to lower the stream's current bit rate is 25, is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend you upping the bit rate. Okay, so okay, so what I think we'll do is we'll just go ahead and start talking our thing, and I'm recording this right now, so if people can't miss it, if they miss it, then I can just put it on YouTube later. But let's just get something at least.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Perfect.
So. Okay.
All right. And
All
you still want the video?
right. You know what? Yeah, you could disable the video if it's better for you. I don't need it.
All right.
If we're just
Okay.
talking, doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, and actually, what I will do is I will disable my webcam because that might help a little bit. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so counting down in 3, 2, 1. And actually, I just remember we're still on video, so I'm just gonna disconnect and call you back.
All right.
Okay. Heh, that's funny.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay. Probably a reason why people couldn't see as well was because it was defaulted to private. So stupid YouTube. So while I'm just fixing some stuff really quick, so we have at least one preliminary match and maybe a second one.
All right.
Coming up. So I'm gonna say that if they're because they're gonna do best 2 out of 3. So the first preliminary match is going to be, if it's an hour long, then we'll do the second round. But if they're going to be over an hour for the first one, then I'm just gonna forget about the second one and we'll just go into our game. But kind of figure at least 2 hours after the stream goes on live, you and I will play our game.
Yeah, I don't see the first match being over an hour. I don't really see that.
Okay.
It'll be, if it is, it's like, wow, that'll be really interesting.
And so how are you? Do you have like a camera set up that you're gonna do? Or are you just gonna use your phone?
Yeah, I'm gonna use like I have 2 phones, so I'm gonna use this one for, I guess, with the to do the match, because that way it'll be easier for me to position my camera, so that way you'll be able to kind of see my pretty much my resource row, my characters, and so on.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay. Okay, so all right. So after all of that, I'm going to just stop the recording and wait for it to do its thing. Come on. Okay. Okay, so you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, sorry I've been saying that a lot, but okay, I think I'm good now.
Gotcha.
All right, let's do it. Recording in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. This is Brandon, also known as Super Fanboy Guy, and we are just days away from the big main event, Darkseid versus Doctor Doom. Now, to give you folks some context of what's going to happen, me and Barakiah Adams are going to be playing a live stream event using our Darkseid, or he's using his Darkseid Elite deck, and I'm using my Doctor Doom deck, and we're going to be playing best 2 out of 3 for the Versus System TCG. And Barakiah is with me in this recording. So, Barakiah, say something.
All hail Darkseid.
Yes, of course. So, you guys may have seen on YouTube or on the Facebook group that, there's been like this feud between us for several weeks now, but in all honesty, we're just doing it the promoter stream that's happening in a couple of days actually. So Barakiah, I am super excited about this. We got our deck list. A lot of people are hyped about it, and I think we're going to have some fun with this one.
Yeah, I also believe we are. I'm extremely excited about it. I love playing. I love playing this game. I love the community, and just being able to kind of do something to promote the game in the community. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. I definitely want to thank you for this opportunity that you're giving me.
Yeah,
really do appreciate it.
Because and the real reason why I called you out and why I did all these videos was because I know you're like a big fan in the community. And, and everybody just seems to, you are the Darkseid player. And like you said in your videos, no one's going to oppose me, I don't know what the exact words you were saying, but, you are the Darkseid player for the community, for sure.
Oh, wow. That definitely makes me feel good about that. This was a deck that I've been playing with for a very, very long time. I didn't think how attached I was going to become to this deck, but it really is. Like it was like my pet project deck, and now it's become like my staple.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so what we're gonna do in this recording is, I'll go over my deck a little bit, but if you guys didn't see my recent video on my YouTube channel, I kind of did a deck profile about it already. But Barakiah is going to go over, the cards in his deck and essentially break down the deck, do a whole deck profile about it. And the other thing, so before we jump into your deck, I do have a couple of questions that I want to ask you. And the first question is like, how did you start out in Versus System? What drew you to the game?
Wow, that's making me feel old now. I started Versus in college, which was I'm 35, so that was like almost like maybe between 12 and 15 years ago. And I started out with of course I started out as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. Then I saw they had this Versus system, so I started from the very beginning with Marvel Origins.
Okay.
And my very first deck was a terrible Brotherhood and Doctor Doom deck.
Doctor Doom. So you did play Doctor Doom at one point.
Yes, it was. But it was a terrible team up deck, and I was like, yeah, this is going to work. So then after that, I just played with the new Brotherhood deck, but yeah, that was my very first deck, and I loved it because I'm a big comic book nerd. I don't even want to count how many comic books I have in my collection. I'm pretty sure I'm knocking on maybe 3,000 now. And
3,000?
so just being
that's cute.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I'm up to 4,000, and of course I'm a big comic book nerd myself. So
Yeah, so just being able to kind of play a game with with these characters, it was a lot. And my heart is with DC. That's where I kind of started. Like my favorite character in DC is Green Lantern,
okay.
and so
Well, next to
um,
Darkseid, right?
yeah. So and then it kind of like Darkseid, like I grew to love Darkseid very, very much, especially with the seeing him on the Superman Adventures
Okay.
and just pretty much how like menacing he was, and you saw him in the Superman Adventures, then you saw him in like the Justice League Unlimited, and then of course we finished it off with the Snyder Cut, which finally did my boy Darkseid some justice. So yeah, that's how so pretty much yeah, that's how I kind of started with it. So I kind of seen I had decks in pretty much every set. I was there for the ups of verses and the downs of it, and I've had a lot of play groups where they were real big in the pro circuit scene. So I was able to get a lot of advice from them, and just being able to just go and just play.
Oh, okay, great. That's super awesome to hear. And similar to your experience, I played during in college myself, and I got exposed to the game just by I think I read it in a comic book somewhere, and by that time I already played like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh as well. And so now you have like there was Overpower, but I was kind of too young when that game came out, so I just collect the cards. I didn't really play the game, but Versus System is the first comic book CCG that really got me playing the game. Meeting people, certain things like that. So that's what really got me involved with it. And for me, I'm a big Spider-Man guy. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. Obviously, my
Mhm.
favorite supervillain is Doctor Doom, but Magneto is a very close second as well. And
Mhm.
so I believe that so when I came up to you and I said, "Oh, I want to challenge your Darkseid deck against my Doctor Doom deck," your favorite villain versus my favorite villain, and I originally was going to do a thing where like, oh, if I was thinking about I do have kind of like a Magneto themed deck that I thought about challenging him, but it's a modern deck and I think it would just get pummeled by your deck. So I decided that I said, Doctor Doom was the card that I wanted to play against you.
Gotcha. I think Doctor that Magneto deck would have been very interesting as well. Like I don't sleep on him. When you got that, you got Genosha, and you got all his plot twists that pretty much KO's characters, and it would be challenging.
Right. Okay, so let's go ahead and okay, I'm just gonna let me just navigate on my desktop here and let me find your deck list. I know I should have probably done this before, but let me just find it and get it up here really quick. Okay. Okay, we have your deck list right here. And so you want to kind of go over the deck profile and talk about the cards. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay,
Um,
so let's just full screen it. All right, so hopefully everybody can see this. Let me check the chat for a second. Okay, we got one person in the chat, Mr. Brad Williams. So thanks, hey Brad, how you doing? So okay, your deck is up and go for it, man.
all right, so I'll start with the characters. So my two drop. Like at first, I was playing with like a lot of like the Dark Lantern and and the other guy, Deceive. But I started to experiment with Malice, and she went so well with my theme of just being able to kind of replace having her out there. If you me being able to drop her on turn two, and with all the substituting that my deck does, especially on turn three, I'm able to kind of go and just replace a lot of resources, which is the main theme of my deck. So she is definitely my two drop of choice with it, and then of course with another two drop at the side in it, and he's like I said, he doesn't do anything until turn four because I got to control Darkseid with it. But just being able to have an extra KO card is very, very important. My 3 drops are Barbara Gordon and Dark Firestorm. My 3 drops are my draw engine. I use them to kind of cycle through my deck so that way I can, continue to get more cards. And there's been plenty of times where it's like I'm looking for my 4-drop Darkseid or my Created from Hate, and just being able to cycle through Dark Firestorm and Barbara Gordon, I've been able to get that. So that definitely helps out a lot. 4-drop, of course, is, Big Daddy himself, Darkseid. He's amazing. He's 6'9", and that effect of if they pretty much flip anything from a plot twist or location, I draw a card, really discourages a lot of opponents from actually flipping it. I've had opponents keep all their cards face down until Darkseid was stunned just because of it, which of course definitely helps me out. I also put in the Dark Martian in the deck just in case. There's always a time where, hey, I don't have a Darkseid, or I don't have the Throne Room, which makes them ununique. So just being able to go and have another 4-drop out there until I'm able to get my 4-drop Darkseid to substitute definitely does help. And of course, his effect of not, taking reinforcement away definitely does the job good. My 5-drop. MVP, Dark Superboy. Oh, man. Hey, he's a great 2-for-1. Just being able to, stun a character that costs equal to or less than the amount of face-down resources really goes and gets your opponent scared. So then that's when they'll start to panic and start flipping resources up, which I'm totally okay with, because if I got my 4-drop Darkseid, that's just more cards I'm going to draw. Then I also have the 5-drop from the 5-drop from DC Legends, where pretty much if you don't go and if I stun a character, hey, you got to pay the cost, or you get KO'd. Really, really good. Love him to death as well. And I also run another 5-drop Darkseid from Legion that I put him in the deck because he has substitute. So just in case for later game I want to have another Darkseid out, I can. My 6 drops. I have a couple of Darkseids, one from World's Finest, which allows me, good stats. 12, 13 is always good, and allows me to kind of do the very scary Rock Lock combo.
Wait, yeah. So
also
yes, I think a lot of people are familiar with that combo. And and just before, I just want to say, let's take a break there. We had another person come in the chat into the chat. Jason Fields, hello. And Brad Williams says is that, hey Barbara ... Wolverine says hi. So,
yeah.
Maybe that's an inside joke. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been times when, in later games and stuff, like having Barbara out there is great, but that Wolverine 5-drop and even 4-drop that goes and can attack the hidden area.
Oh, that's what he's referring to. Okay.
Yeah, I've had some very bad moments with that where I just like, oh no, Barbara, no. So yeah, so ha.
Okay. Also, okay, so sorry, so go ahead and continue.
All right, so you have that. I also running the Darkseid from the very terrible Superman set, and he's great. One of the reasons why I put him in the deck is because I have him EA, which cost me a nice little penny, but it was definitely worth it for Darkseid. Pretty much he's a walking Omega Beam, so that's always good. And then I also have Kento, which is he is effect pay 3. I could KO on my attack step. I could KO a character that costs equal to or less than the amount of face down resources. Is great. It's funny because it's like in the Superman set he was just terrible, but in this with the upgrade that Darkseid got in Legion, he is so freaking great. It's not even funny. And almost like yes, I gotta go second because of that. 7-drop I have, and it's real funny. I'm not even looking at my deck, but I played it so much and everything. I kind of memorized it. 7-drop I have 7-drop Darkseid. Pretty much, hey, he's good for burning and just being able to have the other dark sides out there. And I also have Superman, False Sun, great during my attack step. It's always, and I guess it's I have a lot of friends who are Superman players, so having another Superman on my side doing my bidding is always a good thing.
Right.
And 8-drop, I run the 8-drop from Legion. That is pretty much amazing. Stun the dark side, a non-defending dark side. I can remove any character from the game. So I like to be able to, hey, I'll stun my 4-drop and, hey, remove your 8-drop from the game. I don't want to see him no more. Really, really good. Love that. And which is real funny on the side note is like, even though I'm looking for the 8-drop dark side foil from the DC Legends set, I feel like this dark side is the best.
I'm sure you know.
Yes. Yeah, I know. When it comes to plot twists, I have 4 created from Hay, which they're all foiled. Gotta go and gotta go put that out there. Hey, it's a great plot twist. The downside, which is for Darkseid, it's not really just hey. I could search for a character that costs less than equal to the amount of face down resources I have, and my opponent could go and play a card that's face up. You could turn it back face down, which I don't mind. Please turn it face down. Then after that, I run Dark Fury. They're my pretty much a good blindside. If a character just comes into, I get +2 attack for a Darkseid Elite, and another +2 if it just came into play. So it's majority of the time is going to be a +4 attack, which is always good. I also have Titans of Tomorrow, which is a great search card. I'm able to kind of go like, hey, if I need to, search for, another Barbara Gordon, another Firestorm to kind of, thin out my deck, I could use that. Or I could search out pretty much another character to substitute with, which is really, really good. I really love it.
And I just want to talk really quick about Titans of Tomorrow while you're on it. Mm-hmm. But Titans of Tomorrow is also one of the very few search cards that you have to discard a card. And when I saw this in your deck, it's like, it's like my Faces of Doom, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's always a drawback to the non-discard search cards. Obviously Titans of Tomorrow, you have to do it during the build phase. Faces of Doom, you need to control Dr. Doom. And even for the man who has everything, even if you don't have the character, you still have to discard a card. So there's always a downside.
Yeah, there's always a cost to it. And I think even with Titans of Tomorrow, that like if you're, especially when you're playing the substitute mechanic, you're cool with it. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll definitely take it. And pretty much because like if I'm using that card, it's like, all right, I'm using it because hey, I do want to get another 3-drop or another 4-drop so I can substitute out and continue to do it. It's a great card that I don't think gets enough love and attention.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Let me see what else I have. And then of course I've had Nomad for Darkseid. Great card for defending. It has saved my butt against when I've been playing against Hawk. So I had a game where it was on a 4th turn, and my opponent went attacked with Hawk. Hawk smash, struggle with dinosaurs. He's had to be hitting me for 30, and I was like, oh, that's cute. No match. Thank you. The end.
So yeah, if you play this right, it could kind of be like an overload type effect.
Yes, it definitely is. That's the thing I love about it. Let me see. Then also,
okay, so I can also help you out too. So if we're talking about the plot twist, you also have 1 copy of Have a Blast.
Yes. That card is there to in case I got to get rid of a team up and stuff, I could kind of go and use that. It's an old school card. I usually have a lot of I have a lot of cards in my hand anyway, so it always kind of helps me out with it. So
okay, and then also on your list you have 3 copies of Omega Beams.
Oh yes. And it was funny. I was having a discussion about that because it was between Omega Beams and Omega Effect. Because as great as Omega Beam is the downside of everybody. Like it's the true definition of die for Darkseid.
Right.
But I love the card for it. I have won a lot of games because of it. Like, yes, I have to remove two of my characters for the game, but I'm removing three of yours, which is really good. And the fact that it doesn't target means that, hey, I don't have to worry about pathetic attempt with it.
Right, exactly. Okay, so the other plot twist you have is you run 4 copies of Dark Fury.
Yeah, I mentioned that one. That's
Oh, you
my
did? Okay.
+4 attack. Yes, I think the other one would be the null time zone.
Right.
And that's because in my experience of playing this game and with my play groups, there's always one card that's just annoying to me. Like, oh, I could have won the game if it wasn't for this indestructible. I could have won the game if not for all these Hulk smashes and stuff like that. Or, hey, I could have been able to get rid of this location if it wasn't for a pathetic attempt. So I decided to like, hey, you know what? I don't have to deal with it. But no time zone. Yeah, we're just not playing that card, and we're gonna go. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, so let's talk about next your one equipment reality gem.
A reality gym is it's. I wanted to kind of just switch things up. I could have put another Blast in, but just kind of just prefer the reality gym. Also, usually most of the time I equip it to my Dark Superboy since I know he's going to get stunned 90% of the time,
Right.
so I can get it back. And hey, just being able to go and just kind of just replace resources and do a lot of disruption definitely helps with the helps my deck out and definitely messes up theirs.
Right. Okay, so now let's move on to your locations, and let's talk about the 3 copies of Apocalypse first.
All right, Apocalypse is another card that came into the Superman set that at that time saw no play, probably stayed in a lot of people's binders just collecting dust. And now because of pretty much because of my theme is replacing resources, Apocalypse is great. As the game goes on, being able to get +4, +5, even +6 attack is definitely amazing. Is great. And also definitely, times just forces your opponent to react and start flipping things, which of course I could benefit from with my 4-drop Darkseid. The next one is Dark Matter Drain. That is that's my bread and butter. Just being able to have a good like a permanent have a blast for it is really good, and just being able to I could kind of not kind of, but I can replace team ups. As long as you have another team up there, I can at least replace one of them, which is good. Which makes me that's another reason why I have to have a blast as well. So that really, really good. I love it. The throne room serves 2 purposes. One purpose is, of course, it makes Darkseid non-unique, which definitely helps out. But also the one where the effect that if they flip a card from their resource row, I can discard a card and I can flip a card face up, face down. Right. I usually do this for myself, so that way I could go and use my null time zone again, or I could use like a Have a Blast or Create from Hate, so I could go and kind of use another plot twist over again. So that definitely helps. And of course, the Rock of Eternity. That's just in case things get a little bit too salty. When things get a little bit too crazy with the field win. There's been a couple of games where it's like, hey, my opponent is kind of really putting me against the ropes, and just being able to have that guy out there kind of just to slow him down and kind of almost steal his attack step definitely does help.
Okay, so all right, yeah, so that's awesome. That's Barakai's Darkseid Elite deck profile. And now I just kind of want to ask you a couple questions about the deck, like why you made this choice. And you may have already answered them when you're going through the deck profile. So if you could just humor me if I'm repeating something you already mentioned. But, okay, so you mentioned that the Have a Blast was 1 copy to deal with team-ups and things like that. So if, you use Dark Matter Drain, the replace, they have 2 team-ups out. You replace one, you could use Have a Blast to replace the other one so that they could essentially have no team-ups. So
exactly.
So the question I want to ask with Dark Matter Drain, do you ever want to hit face up non-ongoing plot twists with that, just so that there might be the chance that if they replace it, they replace a character, which means they can't flip, which means it buffs up, your deck a little bit more.
Oh, with Dark, yes. It all pretty much depends on it. Like, there's been times where they've had like a team up, and not a team up, but like a search in their resource row, and I want to use Created from Hate, and I don't want them to be able to kind of put it face down again. I will go and replace their search. So if they have the search or another card that's like, you know what, I really don't want to see again. Don't want you to benefit from. I'll definitely use it for a non-ongoing plot twist.
Right. Even though there might be a risk that you could actually get them a plot twist when they replace it too.
Oh, no. Well, pretty much with Dark Matter Drain, what makes it so great is that I give them a character from my hand and they put it to their resource row.
That's right. That's right. I forgot that's how that works. But you are losing a card out of your hand in theory. So
yes, but with Barbara Gordon, Dark Firestorm, and even Darkseid himself, I'm always able to kind of I always have card advantage. So that's another reason why I like, hey, this being able to draw. Yeah, I'll gladly, especially if it's like on turn 3 or 4, I'll gladly give you my 2-drop, put it in your resource row. Serves a purpose.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so let's talk about my deck a little bit, and let me just see if I can find it here really quickly. Let me just search through. There it is, right there. Okay, so I will bring this up right now. Okay, open. Oh, did it not? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm showing everybody my deck right now really quick, and I'm not going to do like a full deck profile about it because I already kind of did. I talked about the cards in my latest video already, but I'll just name the cards really quick. So we got 4 copies of Boris, Personal Servant of Doom, 2 Puppet Master, Philip Masters, 2 Puppet Overprotective Father, 1 Caliban Pestilence, 3 copies of Dr. Doom, Richard's Rival, 2 copies of Doombot Cores, 4 copies of Dr. Doom, Diabolic Genius, 3 copies of Christoph Von Doom, Pretender to the Throne, 1 copy of Robot Destroyer Army, 4 copies of Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, 1 copy of Submariner, Alley of Doom, 1 copy of Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas, Dr. Doom, Lord of Latveria, 1 copy of Galactus, Devourer of Worlds. That's it for the characters. And for the locations, it's 2 copies of Doom's Throne Room, 4 copies of Doomstamp from Marvel Origins, and 1 copy of the one from Heralds of Galactus. 2 copies of Latveria, and that's it for the locations. Now, for the plot twist cards, it's 1 copy of Diplomatic Immunity, 1 copy of Time Thief, 2 copies of Enemy of My Enemy, 3 copies of Clash of Worlds, 4 copies of Faces of Doom, 4 copies of Mystical Paralysis, 3 copies of Reign and Terror, 1 copy of Press the Attack, and 2 copies of Gamma Bomb. So, now the thing that I wanted to say is, I know when I originally talked to you, I gave you my first deck list, but I decided to make changes to it and decided wanted to take out some stuff out of the deck that I thought wasn't really good enough for it. So, and this wasn't because I know you gave me your deck list first, so I didn't make changes based on your deck list because, obviously that's not fair at all. So, because I play tested with some friends and I really felt that there were some things with the deck that I thought were really inconsistent, and I wanted to change that. So the reason why I put Caliban was I put it in because, everybody plays cards that, gain them some kind of raw advantage, because we have a guy in my play group that plays Bosom Buddies, and they just gain all sorts of advantage with that, with Black Box and, stuff like that. So that's why I decided to add Caliban to the deck. And the other thing that I added the Aquaman, the 7-drop, because I was originally running the what's his name? The Owen Reese guy. The guy that you remove a cosmic counter from, you copy effect from a non-ongoing plot twist. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Molecule Man?
Yes, Molecule Man. Thank you. I was playing him, but he wasn't really consistent enough, and I rather, get 3 cards back from my KO pile instead. So I thought that's why I played 1 copy of him. And then in the original deck profile I sent you, I was playing the Apocalypse Omnibuster, but I took him out because I was running 2 8-drops in the deck, and I wanted a game like a game changer to when I activate Gamma Bomb, but I felt like Galactus would be. It's better to have a 1 8-drop and 1 9-drop as opposed to 2 8-drops. So that's why I really felt I had to make that change to put in Galactus. And the big change why I decided to put in Galactus, because in this deck you have Caliban, Aquaman, and Galactus, which are three different team affiliations that are not Doom. So that's when I decided to add Enemy of My Enemy in the deck, because you can search for them, discard your Doom card, and you can get, you can get those kind of cards. So I feel that, that's why I made, those were the changes that were different that, I felt like I needed to make it more consistent. Now, the one copy of Time Thief is really good for pretty much taking out your opponent's 8-drops, I think, because my deck wants to get to the later turns, because ideally what I would like to do is if I could play Clash of Worlds on turn 6, and if I still have Diabolic Genius out and Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, I lock you out of Plot Twist. That's kind of like what my strategy with that is. And playing the Diplomatic Immunity allows me to move them from, the hidden area to the visible area, or I can move them from the hidden area to the visible area if you're like attacking me and I don't want to take a bunch of damage and stuff like that. And then the other, and also what's kind of a cool trick is this is why the Dark Matter Drain really hurts my deck. It's because on turn 4, let's say I want to flip up Time Thief and I want to take away your 8-drop Darkseid, right? So when I play Diabolic Genius, I can turn it face down, then flip it face up to get another card in your deck. The other strategy that I thought about doing is I could flip up Time Thief, take away your 6-drop Darkseid Omega, flip it down, flip it back up, take your other 6-drop Omega Darkseid, so that way you can't rock lock me. That was the other strategy. But if you chain Dark Matter Drain in response to it, and the cool thing about Diabolic Genius is his trigger comes on the chain, and then you wait for it to resolve. Then you can turn a Plot Twist face down, so you don't have to actually target the Plot Twist, which is kind of a interesting interaction. So I'm sure you probably know about all this, and you've been planning against me for this whole time. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, with the I played against a lot of Doom decks, so I have some experience with it. So some things that I gotta know how to try to go around, which I know, and I do know like certain key turns that's like, all right, I know this turn I'm not going to really be able to do much because he's coming out, and I got to be able to kind of just go in. Like, all right, this is going to be the initiative where I got to go and hit your face. So, but yeah, being able to kind of go and get, do stuff to your resource roll is definitely going to be very, very helpful to me.
Yeah, exactly. And, the big advantages, like, let's talk about like some of the things that kind of hurt our decks that I've noticed from, looking at your deck profile, and, the same way with me, how my deck hurts your deck. What are the key cards? So I definitely think, let's start with my deck. So I think the cards that are going to determine the game is a rightly timed Mystical Paralysis, a rightly timed Reign of Terror, and I think if I'm able to stall you out to turn 9 where I can drain you with Galactus and then play Gamma Bomb to wipe out the field, I think that'll make things difficult. And also if I am able to shift out Caliban in a decent time, I think that can hurt your deck as well. And I also think that obviously the card, like your cards that hurt my deck, definitely Dark Matter Drain. That'll definitely give you advantage if you are able to replace, my stuff and I can't flip up anything. And I still think that 8-drop Darkseid, if you got to play the time, you got to time that really well, because I have to play all my Mystical Paralysis before the combat phase, before you start using its ability and, stunning or removing my guys from the game. So that's also something to consider. And I think Also, something to consider in my deck is the Robot Destroyer will be really helpful to stunning your 4-drop Darkseid, because if I could do that before I flip up my resources, I think it might kind of slow you down a little bit. It may not like defeat your deck per se, but it'll definitely help slow down, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think the card that's also going to really help me out is the Null Time Zone.
Yeah.
Just with with the Reign of Terror. The Reign of Terror is the card that, hey, listen, I've seen two Reign of Terrors on turn 4 could definitely be scary, and I definitely have seen that happen. So being able to kind of Null Time Zone, like, hey, on turn 4, hey, before he comes into play, let's just Null Time Zone Reign of Terror. That would definitely help me out, so that way I can keep my 3 drops. So that's definitely something that I will be looking for, and hopefully I'd be able to get. And also another thing is just being able to kind of just clear the field, which is with the Omega Beams. If I could go and just keep your character count low, I should be able to. I should be able to still, kind of put that pressure on you, because those puppet masters are going to get very annoying and very scary very, very quickly. So I got to make sure I'd be able to get rid of that. And the Dark Matter Drain, just being able to get like the Doom stats, which, hey, because with that, you control Doom. Being able to get rid of that helps me out with, hey, I don't have to, those puppet masters are just there then if they don't have Doom.
Okay, so another important thing that I want to talk about my deck that people are probably noticing, that obviously I'm not playing Crisis of Infinite Earths, and there's a reason why I decided not to play it in this deck, and that is because playing the Clash of Worlds obviously makes up for not playing the Crisis. And the reason why, and I hope I'm able to show people when we battle, and that is if I flip Clash of Worlds, let's say I don't have Diabolic Genius and I flip Clash of Worlds on turn 4, I can call Puppet Master and play 2 copies of either Philip Masters or Overprotect the Father, depending on what I have in my hand. And you can't really do that with Crisis.
Yes.
And also, if and more commonly, a play that I've done in my playtesting, on turn 5, if I don't have Robot Destroyer or Christoph Von Doom, and I could play let's say I have Boris, I could play Boris, search for either a Clash of Worlds or Faces of Doom, and then I could play Clash of Worlds naming Dr. Doom, play another 4-drop Diabolic Genius on the field, so I have 2 of them out on the field. So that makes it a little harder for you to play plot twist from your hand as well. So that's kind of like some of the plays that I've done with this deck as well. And the other thing that I want to talk about is you have the effects like the Dark Matter Drain and Rock of Eternity, and there is a reason why I didn't play a lot of resource hate in this deck. And that reason is because I feel that if you're going to lock me down in resources, I do have the 3-drop Dr. Doom Richard's Rival to kind of deal with that stuff a little bit. So I can, if you play your Omega on turn 6 and you give me the Rock of Eternity and I have this 3-drop Dr. Doom out, I could KO a character and replace that resource if I really need to. But I also don't think the Rock of Eternity really hurts me as much as it does other decks, because I can play stuff like Mystical Paralysis and exhaust my characters before, my attack step. And the big key thing too is with Aquaman, if I have, let's say, 3 characters adjacent to him and I have 3 Mystical Paralysis in my hand, well, his ability triggers at the start of the combat phase, which I believe Rock Eternity triggers at your attack step. Is that right?
That is correct.
So I could pick up my Mystical Paralysis, play them, and then exhaust all my characters. So that is definitely a play that I definitely took into consideration as well.
Yeah, so pretty much, and when I definitely saw that, it was like, okay, he has Aquaman turn 7, which Aquaman is I think he's an underrated 7-drop. He's just so good, no loyalty, and you could splash him in anything. I actually have him in my Green Lantern deck. That's how great he is. So pretty much my thing is just, hey, I got to make sure I get these characters off the field as quickly as possible. And, hey, being able to, as long as I keep that, keep it low, hey, I may not be able to get rid of everybody, but, hey, if you have them and he's turn 7, and it's turn 7, you get one of those cards back, that's good. So I'm happy with that. And just the fact that he's not affiliated with Doom. So with that, I don't have to worry about him trying to reinforce and try to hide one of your little low drops and everything. So I could kind of beat on them a little bit.
And then the other thing too is like, for effects like let's say I have two like Diabolic Genius, Christoph Von Doom, and him out, like, and you KO'd my 6-drop for whatever reason. If you stun, I'm sorry, not KO, if you stun my 5-drop, the Christoph Von Doom, well, now Aquaman, since he's not Doom, and I have Diabolic Genius and Aquaman out in the field, you can now play plot twist from your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something to consider. And that I definitely thought about that, before I added him. He's a very splashable card, and just yeah, I just thought he was a good card, and I'm hoping my copy of Aquaman will get here in the mail before Saturday, because I looked through my boxes and I found out I didn't have any. So I hope it comes by that day. But I guess worst case scenario, I could just proxy it if you're okay with that.
Yeah, it's cool.
So I do have it. Now, another thing I want to talk about my deck, and this is a very common combo that people know with Doctor Doom, and that is with the 8-drop Doctor Doom, Lord of Latveria, with Press the Attack. So how that works is, let's say you have, on turn 8, you have 3 exhausted characters, and you attack with this Doctor Doom. Well, his ability is when he attacks, you can return a plot twist card from your KO pile to your hand. So what you do is, after you declare the attack and you exhaust him, you play Press the Attack from your hand, and you ready the 8-drop Doctor Doom. So then, after his ability resolves, you could pick up Press the Attack again, and then go ahead and attack, and then do the same trick, play it. So essentially, you have an 8-drop Doctor Doom that can attack for infinite damage.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I do see it and stuff, and I have seen it work, and I've seen it in play, so it could definitely be very scary. So that's why my job is just to make sure that, hey, you do not have all those characters that could do that.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, since you have null time zone, on turn 8 you could say Press the Attack as well, which kind of puts a wrench into my works.
Yeah, I will go and say that. Hey, I mean, if you get to that point where you could do that Press the Attack, then hey, I didn't have a good game. The null time zones is going to be, if it gets that late, I'll definitely hope that I have a null time zone for the Gamma Bomb, because that's definitely going to be something that hey, Gamma Bomb is scary. So I definitely got to make sure that kind of put that away.
Right, exactly. And the other thing I wanted to also talk about my deck, and I'm sorry I keep talking about my deck. I'm looking at it right now, and things just come to my mind. But okay, so you'll notice that I thought about this really hard when I was making the deck, but I was very closely thinking about playing 4 copies of Doctor Doom, Richard's Rifle, the 3-drop, but instead I played 3 of him and 2 of the Doombot cores. And the reason why I did that, because I thought that having 2, like, the 3-drop is really interesting, because let's say I have in turn 3 comes, I have a Doombot, and I have the 3-drop Doctor Doom, and I have the 4-drop Diabolic Genius. Well, there might be a time, like, let's just say all my Clash of Worlds are, I guess I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Maybe I'm going off on a tangent here, but I want some diversity in my deck. That's why I decided to play the Doombot in there, because I can, if for some reason I don't have the 3-drop Doom and I have him in my handstand, I could play him, and then on turn 4 play Diabolic Genius, and if I don't have Clash of Worlds, then I don't have to worry about KOing him or something like that.
Hey, that works.
So, and also, I felt like I wanted to go with the theme of Doctor Doom, so I thought adding Doombots was kind of, part of that theme as well. But
yeah, I haven't seen that Doombot in a while. I had to kind of go read it. Like, what did he do again? Oh, okay.
And in the original deck, I did have the Marvel Origins Doombot, the 3/4, but I just thought he's just so weakly statted. 3/4 is just not good on turn 3. That's the problem I had with that one.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's just there to get, KO, so that way you could ready Doom after paralysis and everything, so that way, Doom could keep doing his thing.
Yeah, but I feel like that move only really works if, you have Mystical Paralysis ready. And if you don't have it, then you just have this 3/4 that's just going to get hit, and,
Yeah, I mean, hey, 90% of the time with Doctor Doom, mystical paralysis is going to be around. So
Yeah, that's true. That is true indeed. And okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to talk about my deck that we haven't had yet. And I can't. I mean, there's so many combos to go with this deck, and we mentioned about Latveria making your plot twist cost one less, and then you can Gamma Bomb on turn 8, which could be really helpful. But and I don't know. So this is the question I want to ask you is because I know that excuse me, in your deck you don't run any one cost characters. Is there any Darkseid Elite characters that cost one in the game? Because I'm not really familiar with the team. So.
there are. They're just like there's a one drop that's one of the Furies where I could put it in my resource row and I reveal it and I pretty much give you like I take a copy of your non-ongoing plot twist and I pretty much exchange it. So now you have a face down resource, and that you if you want to use, you could kind of break it out, but it's it's a one drop, and it continues to go make it face down. I was thinking of that, but it's like more than likely, like I was like, you know what, I'd rather put another drop in there. I'm kind of cool with not having one drop in this deck. And I could just go and just use it to have another extra copy of a 2 or 3 or 4, just extra copies of those drops that I just kind of feel like is going to be more, pretty much more important.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So I'm looking at your deck again really quick, and there was something else that I wanted to mention. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Really
All right,
quick.
I did actually have a question about your ancient throne room. I was really I was kind of interested of pretty much what Doom's throne room. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yes, just wanted to see like how like in I guess with play testing and your experience with it, like how did you feel about that card?
Okay, so I know that's a very mixed card, and people have mixed feelings about it. Maybe someone in the chat can mention how they feel about it, but. The throne room, if I had to cut any card from the deck, I would definitely maybe cut that or the diplomatic immunity. It's an okay card. It helps you filter out of your deck, through your deck for cards that you need. And in my honest opinion, it's like if you hit the plot twist, that's fine, and if you hit like a one plot twist, you have to discard a card, you discard like a card that's not going to help you. Like if you're on turn 5 and you draw a Puppet Master, you could discard that, or you draw a plot twist and you have Puppet Master in your hand. You could discard Puppet Master because you weren't going to use him anyway, and it's so late in the game. And even if you don't hit any plot twist from Doom's Throne Room, you could look at 2 cards that you don't want to draw, like a 1 cost and a 2 cost character on turn 6. And so you're kind of helping go through your deck, but obviously a lot of that doesn't really matter, because if you're going to play cards that shuffle your deck, putting stuff on the bottom of your deck doesn't really matter at that point. So that's probably a card that Doom's Throne Room I'll probably take out eventually in the deck. But again, it just helps you filter through your plot twist to make sure you get your plot twist and go through, kind of go through that motion anyway. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, with Doom and everything, Doom is a good toolbox. You could kind of you can kind of play around with it and add different stuff to it. Doom even has a card that pretty much negates it's like a pathetic attempt for him as well, and it gives him +5 attack. So yeah, Doom has so many options that you could do. That's
Expendable Alley.
Yes. So he has so many ways. Like Doom could be very annoying in so many ways. Like Doom was the first legend.
Yeah. So that's true.
Yeah, so he's like I've seen many combos with Doom. I've got caught with Triumphant where I got caught with Doom's Power Cosmic before, which is like, oh wow, you're just gonna steal my initiative and just make me sad. Okay, so yeah, there's so many ways you could go with Doom. Sometimes control, sometimes aggro. So I definitely tell people it's just like, hey, just when I guess with designing decks, don't just kind of fall. Just in line with just one, it's like, okay, yeah, Doom is great for stall. That's what he's known for. But Doom can get busy. Doom can get busy with the attacks as well.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I want to right now. I want to go to. I'm going to go to the Facebook group for a minute, and I want. So I posted a poll that who do people think will win in this live stream on Saturday? Doctor Doom and Darkseid. And as of today, which is June 3rd, at 6:43 PST my time, people have voted that there were 50 votes for Doctor Doom and 24 of the Darkseid. So that is almost a 2-1 favor to me. So how does that make you feel?
I mean, I feel that with Doctor Doom is a deck that's, I think, better known in the versus community, especially with his control. And so pretty much Doctor Doom is definitely the safe bet for a lot of people. But I know that the people who pretty much they're going to be inside, they're going to get a rude awakening. And once they go and actually see how my dark side actually operates and what it does, and believe me, those people who pick dark side, they're definitely going to pick the winning side, and they're going to see that I'm going to definitely give Doctor Doom a run for his money.
Yeah, definitely. And people may be voting, and I will say this, in your defense, but the thing is that Doctor Doom may be well paired with Darkseid, but the problem with me is that it's really how good is the pilot. It's not the deck. You can play the crappiest deck ever, but if you're a master of the deck and you know all of the ins and outs of it, you can win. And the other thing that I could draw nothing but plot twists all game and just not get any characters at all, or I could just draw all characters and not get any plot twist. So there's always that. Those things to consider as well, those that can change the outcome of the game.
Yes, I mean that's the thing with versus is just that you can have the you can have the best card in the deck and against the game, but if you don't draw it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to be able to draw it.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Okay, so let's take a. I'm kind of behind on the chat, so let me just kind of scroll and see what the chat is saying right now. We got about 6 people viewing right now. Okay, so we got somebody called the Noobzoid who made a comment that I just want to share with you. He says, the problem with Darkseid's list right now is that it is mostly a control and gimmick deck where as Doctor Doom is stall to turn 9 and win. Now, but the problem, I will rebuttal this by that comment by saying this. If you KO my characters early in the game, I'm screwed. Like that's the point. If I can't lock you down, if I don't draw mystical paralysis to stop you, I can be screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to go and just say with it is you're right. Darkseid pretty much has this theme of pretty much making the having to face down resources and pretty much taking advantage of the resource hate, which
right.
is which I noticed that with a lot of people, they're like, oh, that doesn't matter and stuff. But I've faced people with Revenge Squad, League of Assassins, decks that, hey, they really, really, really need their resource. They need a specific resource up, and being able to kind of disrupt that definitely does mean a lot. Also, just being able, of course, to KO the characters and have character control definitely helps as well. So the deck that has multiple ways of winning, which definitely helps. It's not linear, and so because of that, I could kind of tailor it to pretty much how the match is going. So, and I understand you're right. In Doom, you're late game. Hey, you have a 9-drop. I don't. That's that. And you have Gamma Bomb. I don't. So I definitely do understand that with it. So because of that, I know that, hey, listen, I got to beat you before those turns. And also, hey, I just got to make sure we don't get that far. I mean, hey, when I play, I'm definitely trying to end this game by turn 7. I'm not even trying. Hey, I'm not trying to see your 8-drop Doom. I'm not trying to even see my 8-drop Darkseid. I'm trying to end it at turn 7, and there we go.
Well, and also I think after looking at your deck too, I think you're like my sweet spot is maybe turn 7, 8, and obviously 9. And I think your sweet spot is probably around turn 4 and 5. Is that correct?
That is correct. I think
Okay.
in verses in general, 4 and 5 is very, very important. Those are the turns that kind of really turn your deck around. But I will even counter in saying that your important, like your turns 2 and 3 is going to be very important to you.
Right.
Like those are going to be able to determine, like, it's like, hey, do I have Puppet Master? Do I have Caliban? Which do I play? Which three do I play? Which do I play a Doctor Doom, the 3-drop Doctor Doom, or do I play a Doombot? Those turns are going to be extremely important for you as well, and those are the things, like those early turns are going to go and be something I'm going to be looking at. Like, hey, if I get a turn and you don't have a Puppet Master, I'm gonna be like, oh, thank you.
Well,
You
and
know,
and then here's also something to consider when I play against your deck. If you hit your 2-drop character, any one of them, Desaad or Malice, it's gonna make things harder for me because if you hit 2 and 3, for an example, and I have Puppet Master, well, if I only have Puppet Master and I activate and I make you exhaust the character, you're gonna obviously exhaust your 2-drop. Whereas if you didn't have your 2-drop, you would have to exhaust your 3-drop instead. So
exactly. Yeah.
it kind of hurts me. It getting your you hitting your curve is gonna help me. I'm sorry. Let me say that one more time. So you getting your drops early is gonna hurt me when I try to exhaust your characters. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And that is something that I did, take into consideration and kind of thought of, is like, okay, I definitely got to go and hit these, early drops. And even that's going to be even something that's going to be a mulligan condition with me. Because in a lot of games and stuff, it's like, hey, it's, especially when you have a curved deck, sometimes it's like, man, hitting hitting your 2 drops is sometimes a luxury.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
hopefully I have 5 of them, so hopefully I'll be able to get at least one of them. I don't need, if I get the two, hey, I'm good and stuff. But if I don't hit two, I definitely want to hit my 3-drop. If I can hit my 3-drop and get things going, I understand you're going to start your exhaust. And it's like, okay, I get that part, and I'm ready for worst case scenario. But hey, if I have my 2 and 3, I should be on cruise control.
Yeah, I agree. So okay, let me bring up my deck one more time and see if it'll pop up here. Okay. So the other thing I want to talk about my deck is so I play obviously a 1-drop Boris, personal servant of Doom, and everybody I'm sure is familiar with what he does. And
Hmm.
the other thing too is the nice thing with Boris is even if let's say I draw him on turn 5, right? And I don't have a 5-drop and I have Diabolic Genius out and maybe the Doombot, right? So I can actually play Boris and put him under, and depending on what's on my hand, it determines on what plot twist I get. But worst case scenario, I could put Boris on the bottom, and I can get mystical paralysis. So if you're playing your 5-drop Darkseid, the one when he stuns a character, you lose endurance equal to each face down they control. So I think
Hmm.
that's what he does, right?
There's that one, and also the 5-drop from DC Legends, where
Right,
you have to decide if you're going to KO the dark side or pay the core. So you may
right,
take double stun.
right, exactly. So even if I miss my 5-drop, at least I have that mystical paralysis that I can exhaust one of your guys to prevent some damage too. So
Hmm.
there is that play I can do as well. But certain scenarios and again it all depends on what I have in my hands, and that is how you really play to your best odds, I guess. So
Of course, of course.
okay, so actually, so I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you about your deck, and let's just go back to it for a second. And this is so I'm not sure if you're aware of or not, but I have a podcast called The Golden Guardians, and we talk about, competitive versus system, like the top 8 decks and kind of those kind of things. And I want to ask you some of the questions that we ask about the podcast with this deck. And so the first question that I want to ask you is what do you feel like is your good matchups and your bad matchups with the Dark Side deck?
My good matchups with the decks are pretty much anything that's very resource dependent. So I usually have some good matchups against, like location based decks.
Okay.
Revenge Squad decks. Um, and just even with basic curve decks, I definitely have like some advantages with it that I really do feel like is really really good. Now of course with the since I don't have a one drop and sometimes I can miss my two, the sometimes what could hurt me is like those rush decks always hurt and stuff. You got to be able to try to absorb as much damage against them as you can. So that's definitely that definitely can hurt
Mm-hmm.
with it. I actually have a friend that has a reservist deck that um, I feel the way they play around my dark side deck is definitely something that makes it a little bit difficult. But against like most reservist decks, especially on turn, like yes, I'm not going to get dark side's effect. Yes, I'm not going to be able to draw certain effects for it, but turn 5 and 6 with the late game, being it like Dark Superboy is just going to eat. I'll be able to go and stun their 5 and their 4 more than likely. Kento is definitely going to eat. I'll be able to stun their 6, KO their 6 drop. So it's just so it all depends on like I guess like certain matchups with it. So those are certain advantages that the deck has with it. Of course, and certain decks, and that's why I also added the null time zone because there were some decks such as like I play a lot of I play against a lot of Superman decks,
Mm-hmm.
and indestructible is the bane of my existence. So it's like, yeah, let me try to just get around that as well. So those are certain things that from my experience of playing with the deck, I've definitely been able to kind of have some good matchups against.
So do you say indestructible is like your worst card against Superman because they can't be stunned, and then you want to use stuff like Omega beams to try to KO like their stun
Yeah, I mean,
characters?
when it comes to Superman, Indestructible is Superman's best card. Like that's definitely his best card. It's not even top five. It's number one.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you ask any Superman player, that card is the card that made Superman, in my opinion, playable because he never really had like a good, like really good defensive card. He did have Impervious that gave him +3 defense on the first attack, but I'd rather just not get stunned than to get +3 attack.
Right.
Hello, hello.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I'm responding to the chat really quick.
Oh no, no
So,
problem, no
sorry about
problem.
that. Okay, so the next question is that I wanted to ask you is where is it? Okay. I'm trying to think of the best one to ask you here in terms of the context. So, if you were going to make any change, like this, now this may not be related to what we're talking about per se, but again, it's just a question that we have. But some of these, because usually when we talk about on the podcast, some of the cards that are really good because we talk about mobilize and enemy on my enemy, some of the hard straight to the grave, which are some of the hard sought after cards. And we have a
Hmm.
segment where we talk about, oh, what are some budget options you can do for this deck if you can't find those cards. But I think your deck is pretty budget friendly. Is there any like expensive cards that people could take out? Like I guess Created from Hate would be kind of a hard card to find. Is there like certain cards that you could take out to be more budget friendly? I guess is what
I
the question.
think the yeah my I think my dark side deck is budget friendly, especially and definitely especially before COVID, where it the prices didn't go up because I think like Created from Hate was a long time ago. I think regular Created from Hate was like $5-6 card. It wasn't even that crazy expensive just for a non-foiled. And because it came in the Legion set and there was so many Legion boxes out, it was a easy card to get. So I don't really think like even in my deck, I think the most expensive card is my EA 6 drop,
Right.
and you don't even need that. So it's if anybody wanted to go in make the deck, it's actually a very easy, pretty much a very affordable deck to make. And so if anybody wants to actually make it, you can. In fact, I've actually was able to go and make like around 3 or 4 different versions of Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
The you only start to get expensive when you start trying to like get the you want to get some DC Legend cards like Lord of Apocalypse, which I don't play in my version of the deck because it doesn't go for this theme. But I have a but I do have a deck that does play it with it. So my deck is very budget friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And most people like, hey, if you're looking for a good deck to make that is somewhat competitive, yeah, the dark side is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, and I also think some of the other hard cards I think would be to get, like if you wanted foil Barbacord and Hacker Elites, that would be a tough one to get. And I don't know, is No Match for Darkseid a fairly hard card to get as well?
Nah,
Okay.
nah, not at all. I think it's fairly easy to get the card. You just gotta, hey, if you're looking for it, I don't think a lot of people are kind of going for it, so you should be able to actually go and get it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, so I just remembered one of the other questions I was going to ask you. So, why no Granny Goodness in this deck?
The
Because
three
I know
drop
you
Granny
gloat
Goodness.
about her all the time, so I just got to ask the question,
Uh,
why no Granny Goodness? I know she's not the greatest
uh,
card, but I don't know if you were trying to go full
I,
dark side theme or not.
yeah, I love Granny, and I'm probably going to make a deck that deals with the Furies, and I would have loved to actually play more of it because they got some good Furies on turn four. There's a lot of good four drops on turn four that unfortunately I can't play because four drop Darkseid is just too good. He's just way too good for me to kind of ignore. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I gotta play with my baby. So, but maybe one day and everything, Granny Goodness will make a guest appearance.
Oh, okay, good. So hopefully people that are listening to this will look forward to that. And so, okay, so we had. Oh, let's see. Next question. Okay, so this will be it for my list of questions, and this is my favorite question that I always ask people that I interview or talk versus system with. But okay, if you're allowed 4 copies of any one banned card for your dark side deck, what would it be?
Oh man, wow. Oh my goodness.
And I can guarantee you that's how most people respond when I ask them.
Yeah, because it's just like, wow, it's just what band card would I put? Shoot, I mean, Overload is such a staple
Hmm.
and such a great card where uh I may decide to go and just not just Overload because Overload was just it was a great card. I mean, it was so great that I remember in the beginning of Versus, a lot of us we played copies of Not So Fast, which
Right.
was like you was able to discard a card and you were able to negate a plot twist that caused on one or less. And it was just for Overload because that's how great Overload was. Like if he was going against Brotherhood, especially where they wanted to Savage beat down you to death, that definitely helped. And it was definitely a good card. I understand why it was banned. I think that it could have just been target attacker if they just would change the wording of it because it
Hmm.
was just like because that card is definitely needed, especially with so many aggressive decks out there. Just being able to kind of just like, nah, you're stunned. Just punish that character and everything. Definitely is missed.
Oh, okay, awesome. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you. Before we ask the chat questions that they want to ask you or me, is there anything you wanted to ask me about my deck at all that you haven't asked yet?
Nah. I think that pretty much you answered a lot of the questions, and like that throne question was the big thing for me. I definitely like the improvements that you made with the deck. Because like when I saw the first one, I was like there were certain things I was like, I wonder how you're going to get like some of these characters, and adding the enemies definitely helped add consistency with it.
Yeah, and also I will mention that my deck will be all foil on stream as well as yours, right?
Yeah. I there was some cards that like my dark side deck was completely foiled, and then I had to make some changes with it. So there's a couple of basic cards that I'm gonna go and look for. I could go look for foiled and everything, which ain't gonna be too hard, luckily for me.
Right.
I would say 90% of my deck will be all foiled out.
Oh, okay, awesome. And oh, another thing that I wanted to talk about my deck that I heard somebody, I think somebody commented on my latest video on my YouTube channel, but excuse me. they said that I wasn't playing the 6-drop Dr. Light in the deck and that I should play it. And the thing, the reason why I didn't include him in my build is because I felt like he was really diluting a lot of the things that I was trying to do. And yes, he is still really good in the Doctor Doom deck, but for what I was trying to go for, I don't think he really fit the context of the deck and what I was trying to do with it. So that's why I left him out. But I kind of will consider putting him in the deck at some point. But for now, I just kind of kept my deck the way it is. So
Yeah.
but
I will. My advice to people when thinking of Doom is Doom does more than stall.
right,
Like Doom does more than stall. I understand that when they think of Doom, they're thinking of 8th and 9th turn and stuff, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it is. But Doom gets busy. I've like, and there is like Doom's Earth is a great deck that also is Doctor Doom, and he gets busy. He gets busy as well. So I say that to encourage players to like, hey, when you think of a certain team, yes, there is the more popular route that people go, but also look at the other things as well, because you'll kind of go and look at it and be like, oh wow, I wasn't aware of this, of this type of build. So I definitely do encourage the players to like, hey, just hey, don't be afraid to diversify and experiment.
right, exactly. Okay, so right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the questions in the chat. If anybody wants to ask me or Barakaya any questions about Doctor Doom or Darkseid, we will go ahead and do that now. So just type your questions in the chat, and we'll answer them for you. So while we're waiting for that, I'm just gonna look through the chat to see what people are saying. See if I missed anything. Oh, this is an interesting question. So the Noobzoid asks, curious why no one played Cover Fire.
Um. All right.
You can take
So
it first. I have my reason.
all right. So with Cover Fire is I have a hate love for that card. The
Okay.
card is great, and sometimes I kind of feel like it is just too great and too oppressive. Like I have it in my lantern deck, and a good, well placed Cover Fire could just make you go and just like, oh my goodness. And it's funny because even in Marvel Legends, a lot of these cards that were so good that were commons, they got team stamped. Like Press the Attack got team stamped for X-Men.
Right.
Cover Fire got team stamped for
Marvel Knights. Yeah.
Marvel Knights. Like
Defensive
they were
stance,
just
I
like,
think that's what it's called.
yeah, defensive stance.
Mm-hmm.
Even Betrayal and everything got team stand for Brotherhood. There was so with Cover Fire, don't get me wrong, it's a, and I guess like I've seen the card played so many times. I've gotten to the point where I just want to go and play with different types of cards.
Right.
And to be quite honest, I'm kind of happy I don't have Cover Fire in my deck, because in this matchup, it would kind of be pointless. That Cover Fire would be a dead card that I would just throw away if or discard if I need to against your deck.
Right. And so for my Doctor Doom deck, I thought about it hard about if I should play Cover Fire or not. And I thought about maybe playing 2 copies in the deck. I thought about maybe taking out Diplomatic Immunity, or maybe the 2 copies of the Throne Room to put this in. And my reason why I didn't play Cover Fire at all was because I felt that I already do a lot of defensive stuff in the deck, like with Puppet Master, Mystical Paralysis, and Reign of Terror, just to name those. I already do enough defensive cards, and to add more defensive cards in the deck didn't really see consistent for me. And so I just thought, like, yeah, there's no point in doing it. And it looks like somebody corrected me or corrected us. No, I think it was me because I said it. I said defensive stance. It's defensive formation. So Jason Fields, thank you very much for that correction.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's why I decided not to play with Cover Fire. Because I already play him. And I think Cover Fire is really for those, like Green Lantern decks, or a deck that every character has range. And obviously, in my deck and your deck, not all of our characters have range.
Yeah, I mean, enough of them do for the point where I can understand it could be put in there. And so I'm not saying that it's not wrong. I just like to kind of put in like just try to put other cards in there. Like I also have like I have a Darkseid clone deck where I play the um All Hell Darkseid, and I also play Lord of Apocalypse.
Okay.
Could I add that cover fight in there? I could. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I won, and I won because of a well placed cover fire, which I understand is part of the game, but I just like to kind of diversify my deck a little bit. So try to play with cards that don't get enough love.
Right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't anyone that does play it, hey, you're right for playing it. You're not wrong. So I mean, it's a great card. I guess like when I've been playing Versus for so long, there's just certain cards where it's just like, oh, this card again, Whoopie Kaye.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so again, if anybody in the chat has any questions that you want to ask me or Barakaya, now is your time to do so. If not, we are going to end the stream. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to ask any questions that you want. But okay, so let's talk about let's kind of change directions here for a second, and let's talk about something that's not Doctor Doom or Darkseid, for example. So I guess you were on a stream a little bit earlier, and you on Facebook, and you were starting to talk about the Trinity deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said in the comment that I had a Trinity deck of myself, and I play the Lasso of Truth definitely with my 4-drop Wonder Woman, and I was actually surprised that I was able to build that deck so fast, because a lot of the cards are obviously hard to get to it, and I just thought it's a fun deck to play, but like I have the modern age build, so it's everything from like DC Legends. So I play like Roy Harper Coming of Age, and it's a modern deck. But is there an actual Trinity deck that's like Golden Age?
They My friend, he goes and plays it where he does play 7-drop Aquaman in the deck, which is very, very helpful, especially in Trinity, to get back those pesky plot twists, like to get back the Indestructibles, your fizzles, or from the darkness, or something from the darkness that Batman negate plot twist. So that does help as well as that deck Trinity, because of Wonder Woman, it could really be heavy tax on your hand,
Right.
and being able to get those cards back definitely does help. So Aquaman is definitely a big, big plus to it, that I do see some people playing as well.
Right.
And also I have a friend that because of so many rush decks that come out there, and they're very weak at rush. Like Trinity doesn't really get busy until turn 4. Having Flame Trap definitely does help as well. Just being able to kind of get rid of some of the annoying 2-drops and stuff, because by more than likely in Trinity and stuff, you're more than likely not going to have a 1 and 2 you're really going to care about. So being able to kind of having a Flame Trap definitely does help you, and is very beneficial towards you.
Right. Okay. Sweet. And also, okay, so now we have some questions in the chat. And the Noobzoid asks, how many games will you guys play to test out this contest? Like, I don't now, does he mean like how many times are we going to test other people? Because I'm sure you and I have play tested against in our play groups already to do that. But are you talking about like tests? Like, are Barakai and I gonna play each other before we play in the main event on Saturday? And to answer that part is the definitely no. We are playing each other for the first time on the main event on June 5th, excuse me. So I hope that answered his question. And the next question is from Jason Fields. When Versus was alive, what was your tournament deck? The deck you played to win. That's a good one.
Yeah. To be quite honest, I wasn't really big on the tournament scenes. I did the hobby league, and I just really just loved it for fun. So I definitely had a lot of people that was in my play group that was very competitive. So I definitely got to see all the competitive decks that they did when different sets came out and from Martin and Golden
Right.
with it. So I always changed it up and everything. So I didn't really had a super competitive deck because I didn't really do the tournament scene. I just pretty much did the hobby league and hey, whatever my deck that I made, I tried it out in the hobby.
Okay, so to answer that question, again with you, I probably played the big tournaments that I played. I played in a pre-release of Heralds of Galactus. I played in one 10K event, and then I played in a hobby league as well. And that was I think it was the X-Men set hobby league, the one that they were giving out the promo enemy my enemies. So those are the only
Hmm.
big tournaments that I really played in. But the most competitive decks that I have played, I definitely played Exiles when Marvel Evolution came out because
Oh,
once
Lord.
once Shift was out and it was announced, I'm like, this is broken. I have to make this deck. Whatever deck utilizes Shift the most, I'm gonna play it. So that was a competitive deck. I played um, the Brotherhood Reservist deck, so like the old one from X-Men that used Jonah Cargill and Amelia Vo, and it wasn't the next new Brotherhood deck. Like it didn't run the new Brotherhood, the ongoing plot twist at all. It was just a reservist deck that played like the Acolytes plot twist and the Heroes in Reserve, and you played the 6-drop Wonder Man, the stun, one of their characters. So I played that,
Mhm.
and then the other big deck, I played a lot of Avengers too, but besides that, all my decks were fun. I played Spider Stall when Marvel Team Up first came out, and I got like all the Spider-Man cards that I wanted to play, and I made that deck as well. So that and I still have that deck today, and it's still fun to play. I love it. It's not as good as the competitive Spider Stall deck that's in Golden Age right now, but it was still a fun deck. So, okay,
Yeah.
so next question from Brian Martin. What is your biggest fear? My biggest fear is snakes. but he put another question below. What is your biggest fear from being behind for both of you? Like what is like are you talking about what's the biggest card that I'm afraid of in his deck and vice versa? I think that's what, and we kind of went over that already. I said my biggest fear is probably either dark matter drain or maybe the what is it? It's dark matter drain, or maybe if he gets any of his 2-drops early out, because then it kind of puts a damper on my exhaust plan. So that would be my answer.
Pretty much. My biggest fear is turn 4 rolls around and I don't have that no time zone for that Reign of Terror.
Right.
That's gonna be like I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a long game. So that is definitely going to be my fear. And just I think anybody's fear is missing drops.
Oh, right. Exactly. Okay, so Aaron is in the chat. Welcome, Aaron. We have a celebrity in our chat, Mr. Aaron Mead, the collector of the Versus System Collective. And I have a
Welcome,
feeling
welcome.
that if Darkseid might have to go against Lex Luthor one of these days, so get ready for that matchup.
Can't wait for that.
So even despite whoever this, it doesn't matter whoever wins or loses on Saturday. I think we need to have you guys play each other sometime for another live
Um,
stream event.
definitely will love that.
Okay, so let me just keep going down here. Okay, so our match is going to be a best 2 out of 3, just to clarify if anybody doesn't know. Okay, another question from the Noobzoid. Have you ever made a play that was illegal unknowingly, but later realized it was illegal during competitive play?
Uh,
Well, that's kind of a tough one, but let me think about that for a second. I mean, there's been times where like, I've played, my characters and I went to formation and then I decided to like equipped and equipment after my formation, which is obviously after the recruit step. So I've done stuff like that, or the more commonly what probably people do is they play their turn 4 and they realize they have 3 resources out and they just play the resource after they recruited their character. That's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough question for me. I really can't even recall. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've done some things and stuff that was like, oh yeah, that I wasn't supposed to do that. But yeah, that's a tough one for me. I don't know if I can answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you can't really think about. Like we all don't want to cheat on purpose, and go into that whole cheating there. I don't plan on cheating on camera because I mean, even though we're villains, and I thought about doing a thing like telling you like, oh, for our match we should decide to put like one different card in our deck so we could be like villains being like scumbags or something like that. But I don't think that's the direction we want to go. And I trust Barracuda will be honest with me and I'll be honest with him. So I don't think we have to worry about that. And this is just for fun, so it's nothing competitive. Okay, so Aaron Mead, I do have one fast question. How does it feel knowing Lex is better?
I mean, I think Lex is better at wearing a suit.
I think he's better at not having hair on top of his head.
I mean, I don't know and everything. Darkseid may give him a run for his money on that in that department.
Yeah, I think Darkseid would be. Oh, have you? So did you happen to watch the video where I interviewed Kevin and Aaron, and Aaron talking about his Lex Luthor deck?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. I did watch that. And I think with the Superman deck when he had the night vision, that was the one that I was just like I looked at like, that's gonna be interesting and stuff. Like definitely a card that you want to get early because if you get that night vision on turn like 4 or 5 and stuff like that, you're gonna be like, why?
Well, so a lot of people want. So the poll for that, I think, people voted that Lex was going to win that match, but I feel that Superman might pull out a game. I think personally, but anything is possible. Like we talked before, you could just have really bad draws, and that puts you at a disadvantage. Like Lex Luthor could just draw all characters or all plot twists, and just not be able to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Injustice Gang, they all should be drawing their whole deck, so that should be very interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. Okay, Brian Martin asks the question, what's a combo that you both fear being behind? And I'm pretty sure that means like what's the combo in your deck that I'm afraid of and vice versa. So let me go ahead and start. You getting Dark Matter Drain out is kind of scary for me. Also, like I mentioned before, if you curve out really well and you play 2, 3, 4, 5, that's going to make my exhausting things a little harder to deal with. So that is going to be hard for me. I also think Null Time Zone could definitely be a damper into the works. But again, it's like Null Time Zone is you have to be the first one to react before I do something too. The way I see it. So before I play Reign of Terror, you have to flip it and call Reign of Terror as well.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, got to go and just do it during the build phase and do it before, like, pretty much do it when I know that hey, a Doctor Doom is coming out. So like my dream turn is to do it on turn 4. If you Reign of Terror any time after that, I'll accept that. I'm like okay, because after those turns, I got other concerns that I'm gonna have to worry about.
Right. And actually, I don't remember what the ruling is, but if you flip Null Time Zone, does the ability come on the chain before you name the card, or does it flip and then you name the card?
I flipped it on Null Time Zone. You can respond to me flipping it, and then after that, I will have to call.
Okay, right. Yeah, I mean, and also Brian Martin says that Dark Matter is greater than Rock of Eternity Lock. That's interesting. Yeah, and so I'm not sure if he listened to this, but I do have an answer in my deck to Rock of Eternity, and that's the 3-drop Doctor Doom. I could KO one of my characters to replace it. That's why I feel that it's not. I mean, it's going to be a nuisance, but again, you exhausting my characters is not going to determine the game because I can in response, use mystical paralysis or activate effects before my attack step. So that's why I feel that it's not. I mean, it's going to be annoying, but it's not going to be a game changer for me.
Yeah, it's
I
not going to
feel.
be the end of it. Yeah, I'm not looking to beat you with no time zone. That's definitely not the it's not going to be my go-to, especially against your deck. It's just pretty much just something else to have just in case like you have odd initiative and you got a if you got odd initiative and it's I see Submariner and it's like, yeah, we're doing rock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly that too. So okay, yeah, Aaron, the effect is added to the chain. Yep, we got that. So thank you for clarifying that. So yeah, we'll just give a couple more minutes if nobody else in the chat wants to ask any questions. I think we're gonna end it there. So we'll give the stream about 5 more minutes. And that way, because that
No,
way, also compensate for lag too. So just do
gotcha,
that.
gotcha. Yeah, man.
So
Listen, I'm just looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be great. I love being able to kind of I love being able to play versus with with friends and being able to show it in the community.
oh,
And don't get me wrong, I have taken some epic L's on it. Like I have on a live stream got beaten by Spider Woman,
which
6 drop.
the Maddie Franklin one from Spider Man.
Yes, I didn't
Oh,
even know what that woman did and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, I really got bricked walled by this starter deck card. Wow, I hate life. So yeah, I'm definitely going to. It's going to be epic. I can't wait to see. Hey, how I win or how I lose. It's going to be for the ages, and can't wait.
oh, and let me tell you too is depending on who wins, I will have 2 separate videos made of whoever wins, and I will play them on the stream. And I already have an idea what I want to do for you if Darkseid wins, and I think you'll like it.
Oh man, now I got extra motivation.
Yeah, and I'll give you this clue. It is related to a video you constantly post of Darkseid in the group.
Oh man, I can't wait. Now that's extra motivation to kind of win now. Now I'm gonna be superstar. Gotta win this time now. Just
Yeah.
for the video.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have another question from Brian Martin. He says, "What's a combo you'll take pride in performing?" So, do you want to take this first?
I would love to be able to do no time zone, call a card, and then for whatever reason you flip another card, and I could go and use my ancient throne rooms to flip my no time zone back down and do it again on your in your build phase, because I could do no time zone in the build phase
Right.
and stuff like that. Doesn't say just your opponent. So if I could get two no time zones on you, oh man, that would be so beautiful. I would love to see that.
Okay, so my favorite combos that I love to do personally, but if it's turn 7 and let's say I have a actually before I even talk about that, one thing that I love to do is I would love to have diplomatic immunity out on the field. On turn 5, pay 1, move Diabolic Genius to the hidden area. Turn 6, play Victor Von Doom, maybe move him to the hidden area, and just lock you out of plot twist for the rest of the game. Hopefully. So that's one of the combos that I enjoy doing. Now, the other one that I like doing as well is if I have the 3-drop Doctor Doom, the 4-drop, and the 6-drop Doctor Doom out on the field by turn 7 when I play Aquaman, I would love to have like 2 or 3 mystical paralysis in my KO pile, bring them back to my hand, and exhaust all your characters for the rest of the game as well. I would love to have that combo as well. And then obviously this is not really a combo, but I would like the Gamma Bomb on turn 9 and then play Galactus and drain you. That would be my thing. So
Yeah, that I would feel real sad about that.
yeah, so okay. So we got about 3 more minutes here. We're gonna end it at it'll be 10:30 your time and 7:30 my time. That should be pretty good. So is there any?
Yeah.
So I noticed that. So is it safe to assume that you're a big DC guy?
Yes, I
Okay.
am. I'm a big DC fan. Green Lantern was the first I well, even though I would say my first comic book I ever bought was a Spider-Man comic book, but then after that, the first comic book that I started collecting religiously was Green Lantern.
Okay.
I've been collecting that since my first issue of Green Lantern was issue 112 with Kyle Rayner. And then after that, I've just been collecting all through from Rebirth, Green Lantern Corps, White Lanterns, the Red Lanterns. I've been, that's my favorite when it comes to DC. Because in my personal opinion, DC actually has heroes. Marvel has a lot of licensed killers.
Right. So so my thing, obviously I'm a big Marvel fan, and this is why I wanted to do this challenge in the first place, is because it's like a Marvel versus DC battle, or a DC versus Marvel. And
Hmm.
that's why it's like that's also the really important reason. But I will say, going back to Green Lantern, I read a few Green Lantern comic books back in the day, but I wasn't really big into it. But I understand the story and the whole idea about him. But I will say that my favorite Green Lantern comic ever was, I believe it's Green Lantern Volume 3, number 32. It's the one where Kyle Rayner goes home and he sees his girlfriend stuffed in the fridge. That, like,
Oh yeah.
when you see that happen, and that panel where he just looks at it, it's just like, wow, that is brutal.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. It was
that.
a lot of controversy with that issue.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually
With
have
it.
it in
But
my
yeah.
collection as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have it as well. It was great with Major Force and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Because I think at that time they was trying to make Kyle Rayner into the Peter Parker of the DC with a rookie hero.
Oh, okay.
Not sure of himself, and that's where like even having his girlfriend die early in his career, trying to mimic what Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. They definitely tried to do that. I definitely love Kyle Rayner for the fact that pretty much he was always, trying to balance his, heroic life and everything with the Justice League with his, just regular civilian life. And that part I did love and I think a lot of comic books kind of go away from that, just the civilian side of it, which I really love. And
Right.
another reason why I love Spider-Man is that, there's a civilian life. They're not heroes 24/7. They have a regular life. They're trying to, they go through, problems just like the rest of us. They just happen to have powers.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about is Brian Martin asks, well, it's not a question, but he made a comment that says, "Wait, no, press the attack infinite." I'm like, yeah, we talked about that earlier. It's right here. We got press and attack with the 8-drop Doctor Doom. That's the infinite combo that we have. So I brought the deck up again to share really quick, but okay, yeah, that's about it. I think it's 7:30 my time and 10:30 your time. So I think we're gonna end the stream now. So Barakaya, is there anything else you want to say before June 5th?
Hey, I just want everybody to get a good night's sleep because you're going to need it. Because when June 5th comes, you're all going to go and witness the glory of Darkseid and how I'm going to lay the smackdown. And I promise you, by the time this is over, the price of Created from Hate is going to triple. I'm letting y'all know now.
And I will say this, that if I lose to Darkseid, I will make the Darkseid Elite deck, and I will be part of the Legion.
Oh, even better. Hey, man, listen, you give me more motivation. Now I gotta beat you now.
Yeah. So I will definitely make this deck and play it if I lose to you. That is my my thing. And despite on who wins or who loses, good luck to you. Hope you get all the draws you want in the world, and I hope you have fun, and I hope you win, because I would love to hear a victory speech from you after you win. So.
Oh man, hey, listen.
Start.
I wish you luck. Just not too much luck. I hope you. I hope you miss all your puppet masters. But hey, but either way, we're gonna have a great match. I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of fun. So once again, we're gonna say, so yeah. Oh, and also, hold on, let me think about what I want to say. Okay, so the stream will start at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will be having a preliminary match, which is Kevin Jackson's Superman deck against Aaron Mead's Lex Luthor deck. And this is going to be on Octagon. It's not going to be a live paper event. And if we have time after the first preliminary, they will do a second game, which will be Kevin's Avenger deck versus Aaron's Aquaman Justice League Legends deck, which is really interesting, actually. So, but if we don't get time for that second match, we will do it, on a, maybe the next time we do a live stream. But yeah, that's about it. And thank you everybody for watching. Barakaya, thank you for taking the time to do this recording with me. And once again, good luck to you, and may the best man win.
And that better be me.
But it's going to be me, though. I know it.